Is up, family? So this video is going to be about, I had some questions. I've had some questions over the past, I don't know, month or two, kind of dabbling in these two topics. So I'm going to go ahead and make the video. I've made videos about this before. I'm going to go ahead and make it again so I'm clear on my position. Number one, the election. I'm not bragging about not voting. Don't think that's what I'm doing. I don't brag. It's not something I do. It's not something I've ever done. They gave you two options. They said, here's some shit, or here's some shit on a sandwich, and here's some shit in a bowl. Pick which one you want to eat. I'm letting you know that you can choose not to eat. It's that simple. You don't have to consent. And if you play the game, if you vote, and you're the person you want to win doesn't, guess what? You still consent to whatever the other person does. And when they violated the Constitution, they trampled on our rights, or they say they are going to, you are consenting and supporting a tyrannical government. It's that simple. The analogy he used was, well, if you have the choice of getting in a sewer and being neck deep or being knee deep, I chose to be knee deep. Well, good for you. Guess what? My shoes are clean. I ain't got no shit on my feet. I'm up on top looking down at your goofy ass jumping around the shit. That's what you chose to do. That's your choice. I'm just letting you know you don't have to choose that. We are governed by consent, meaning they can only govern us if we allow them to govern us. I am a free being. I was born free. Nobody has more authority over me than I do. Period. Now, we're going to move on to the police. The first question when you're thinking about the police forces that you need to ask yourself is this: how am I free when a government force has complete authority over me 24/7, even when I haven't committed a crime? And don't say, well, you have to commit a crime for them to have authority over you. Bullshit. There's been plenty of doors kicked in and plenty of people killed that had done nothing because of a wrong address or something else. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a clerical error or whatever. If the people policed ourselves how we're supposed to, and how I'm about to explain to you is supposed to be, shit like that wouldn't happen. Now, understand when I say police forces, I mean all enforcement agencies, from the local cops all the way to the feds. All of them gone, abolished. The only thing that would be left is the sheriff in each county or parish and the constable in each county or parish. Here's why. We are self-governing, like by design. The way it's supposed to be, and the way it was for over 60 years in this country, was that, for instance, let's say my neighbor over here committed a crime. It's on me to gather that evidence because it's my property. I'm responsible for my own property. It's on me to gather the evidence and take it to the sheriff. The sheriff will then investigate it. If there's cause, he will file an affidavit for a warrant through a judge. Then, if needed to arrest this individual, he will deputize members of the militia, which is the people, us, you and me. We will go arrest this person. But once that person's in custody, the deputization is negated. That's the community policing itself. So once he's in custody, I'm no longer a deputy. You follow how that works? That way nobody ever has authority over anybody. The sheriff's job was never meant to go out and arrest people on his own, or go out looking for people, being a road pirate, waiting for people to be speeding down the road. His job was to sit in office until he is needed. That's it. The constable's there to arrest the sheriff, and in reality, the sheriff's not even supposed to be elected. He's supposed to be appointed. That way, when he does some crooked shit, the constable can go arrest his ass right now and get him out. But the constable's job was merely to be an arresting official over the sheriff. That was it. So, what happens if the police are abolished today? Now, I'm going to be the first one to say, shit would be crazy. It would be complete chaos for a year. I would probably die. My kids would probably die. Doesn't matter. It's how it's supposed to be. It's the only way that the people here can be free. And if I have to die in order for that to happen, that's just the way it is. It's no loss to the world. I'm a granule of sand in all the beaches of the world. That's what I amount to. Nothing. And until people start realizing that and accepting that and realizing that their lives aren't as, they're only important to them and the people that know them, I will be forgotten about one generation after my death. Completely forgotten. You know how long it's been since anybody's went to my grandfather's grave? Years. And it's just 30 miles away. I bet you I passed that. I bet you I passed his gravesite within 300 yards. I bet you I've passed it 1,000 times or more since my grandfather's died. I've never stopped there and seen him. It's not because I don't care. It's because out of sight, out of mind. You don't think about it. Our lives are meaningless because we choose for them to be meaningless. Now they could be meaningful. We could go down as the second generation of men who allowed freedom to flourish. I can't say it, flourish. But on the path we're on now, we're going to go down as the generation that allowed all freedom to be taken by government. And they're not going to blame it on our fathers and our grandfathers and our great grandfathers. No, they're going to blame it on us. It's just the way it is. And all these things where people like, you know, we've been told our whole lives, the police are your friends. If you get lost, call the police. If you have a problem, call the police. If your neighbor calls you a dumbass, call the police. The police enforce every infringement that there is. They enforce all the unconstitutional laws. You can blame Nancy Pelosi or whoever the hell you want. Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden's not going to be getting all kitted out with Kamala Harris and kicking in doors. They're not going to be a two-man team going through clearing houses looking for guns. The police are going to do it. And don't say, well, I hope they stand up to their oaths, because guess what? They already don't. You just don't notice because it doesn't affect you. It affects this guy over here. And that's how it starts. Just like with the infringements. It starts with a little infringement and then a little more. Then they get a little closer to you and a little closer to you until they got you. It's the same thing. It started with felons and full autos. Short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns and shit like that with the NFA. Which the NFA, this was another question somebody asked me. The NFA, even if you remove firearms out of it, let's just say it was about a measure tape. Let's say the NFA was about measuring tapes, okay? Had to be a measure tape can only be so many feet long, has to be made out of this certain material, yada, 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 whatever. Congress doesn't have the authority to create that law. They don't have the jurisdiction. We are 50 sovereign states. Each state, by choice, is in a union. The federal government only exists because of the union of the states. When you read in the Constitution, it says United States territories. Ohio is not a United States territory. Ohio is Ohio. A United States territory is Washington, D.C., where all the states own that. Now, they would lead you to believe that the states don't own that. The federal government owns Washington, D.C. Well, guess what? The states own the federal government. It only exists because of the states. Misinterpreting our Constitution has led to the oppression that we face now. You think you're free, you're not free. The only way you can be free is to lose all fear. And when you lose all fear, you stop doing shit like voting, paying property taxes. And then if they come, the sheriff that's supposed to be there, merely there as an arresting official, for the most part, if that sheriff comes to arrest you because you don't pay your dues, I would say that he doesn't he's not a great representation of you or the community. Now, if the community policed ourselves and you didn't pay property taxes, for example, because they're unconstitutional, and the one sheriff, because there's no force, came down and said, hey guys, psst, hey Freedom, I need you to go help me evict these people because they ain't paid their property taxes. We're taking their shit. I could say, you know what? Fuck off. How about we're going to arrest you and we're going to go grab the constable and have him arrest your ass. And we're going to put a new sheriff in place. That is freedom. That is how it's supposed to be done. You may need the police forces. You may need that. But they don't give you no protection. Somebody robs you, they're not going to be there. Somebody shoots you, they're not going to be there. Somebody steals your shit, they're not going to be there. But they give you the illusion that they will be. They give you the illusion that they're here to protect you. They're not. Dangerous freedom is far better than peaceful slavery. A lot of the things I say affect me in a negative way. I wouldn't live, oh my bad, I forgot to even say this. If the police were abolished today, the welfare state would fall. People would stop paying their taxes. So for the next year, possibly 18 months, probably a year or less though, there would be a lot of starvation. There'd be a lot of crime. There'd be a lot of death. Gotta break some eggs, make an omelet. It is what it is. I wouldn't live through it. I don't have the capabilities of living through that right now. I don't have the ability to grow my own food. If it happened today, I don't want to say I don't have the ability to do that. If it happened today, I don't have in place what would be needed to survive. You know whose fault that is? Mine. Nobody else's. And nobody else should pay for it. And nobody else should be less free because I failed in my duty. And I failed. I have failed. I have failed myself and my family. But you know what? I'm trying. I'm getting there. A little at a time. I got a plan in place. But what I don't expect is anybody else. Right? Do you know what? For the last 18 months, I could have had food stamps, insurance, probably housing too. You all didn't know this. We was living at my wife's work for a pretty good period of time over the last 2 years. Not because we didn't qualify for Section 8 or we didn't qualify for food stamps, because we refuse to make you pay for our fuck-ups. All right, yeah, our fuck-ups. What put us in that position, boiled down to the smallest molecule, was me. I did that. And my wife stood beside me and said that this is fine. We're going to get through it. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to force these other people to pay for what we did. And it sucked. It sucked. It sucked living in a hotel with, a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old in a 2-bedroom hotel. But we fucking did it. We made it fucking work. We dug ourselves out of it without any help from anybody. I am sick and fucking tired of people thinking that the way it should be is the way that it is today. It's not. People, you abolish the police forces, people look at it like, look at all this crime. 20%, the lowest 20% on an economic scale, like by how much money they make, the lowest 20% commit 80% of the crime. Do away with welfare, it's a pretty good chance those people are going to die of starvation or being killed trying to steal somebody else's shit. 80% of crime disappears in a year. Now, like I said, it'd be chaos. And I know it would be. But guess what? The Revolutionary War was fucking chaos too. But it was something that had to be done. It had to be done so they could be free. And more than anything, to ensure that we could be free. And we continue to fucking piss it away.